Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Carrow Road. I really don't know where to start tonight, and I know I say that a few times, but I feel like I'm going to spend a lot of the time not speaking about the football and speaking about the events around the football. And there's an element of me that is still quite shocked by what I've seen tonight on all angles, from all sides, and whatnot. And I think a few days to really kind of sit down and figure out and work through exactly what has happened here tonight and the ramifications and consequences of it. But look, the headline is Norwich City have won 4-2 against Watford. To an extent, that feels like a sideshow now, to be completely honest. I'll do my best to run you through the game. Norwich City, I felt for the first 35 minutes were brilliant. I thought it was one of their best half an hours that I've seen for a while from this team. There's been improving performances in recent weeks, and this kind of felt like certainly the best, barring obviously QPR, which was a step back. The final 10 minutes of the first half for me were really poor. I mean, they let Watford back into a game they had absolutely no right to be in. Ashley Barnes obviously scoring with a header that was judged to have crossed the line after Stuart Atwell checked his whistle from a brilliant Onel Hernandez cross, and I thought Onel Hernandez was brilliant tonight. And then the second goal, which is a penalty, Kenny McLean taken out by Ryan Porteous inside the box as he went to clear the ball, clear penalty, and that's given. He missed the initial penalty is poor, but he scores a rebound from the header. Then again, the game settles. Norwich have a really wobbly 10 minutes or so, where I think it's Ken Sema's allowed to kind of just drift through. Brilliant pass from Jamal Lewis, I think it was, and his shot's tapped home by Rakovic, and it's 2-1 at half time, and that then makes this game a lot more complicated and complicated in a sense that it didn't need to be for Norwich City, because they were in absolute cruise control of this contest in that first half. So it's 2-1, and then I guess this is the talking point, isn't it? David Wagner makes a double change. Onel Hernandez and Josh Sargent off. Christian Fashnacht and Marcelino Nunez come on for Norwich. Those substitutions, and I don't want to say that, and this is one thing that I think needs to be made really clear tonight in the analysis of everything that's happened. Whether you think it's a small group, whether you think it was the Barkley, whether you think it was all of them, whether you think they should have done it, shouldn't have done it, whatever, they weren't booing the players that were coming on, and that should end that debate. They were not booing the players. Did it have effect on the players that are out there? Absolutely, and we'll come back onto that in a moment. But they weren't booing the players. They were booing the decision, and they were booing David Wagner. That needs to be made completely clear. But then I think from there, and I will come back to that and speak about it in a bit more depth. I'll come back to it. So then Yasser Asprilla scores a wonderful, wonderful goal. One of the best goals I've seen here at Carrow Road to make it 2-2, and that provokes the exact reaction that you think it will provoke in this place. And then from there, it really felt like momentum had swung, and it was with Watford, and it was going to be about whether or not they could find the winner. But Norwich dug deep. It was a ball forward. Ashley Barnes does what he does really well and wrestles with his centre-back and then plays through Gabi Sarah. And from a really acute angle, it's a brilliant finish. I think I read somewhere that all of his shots that he's taken in the box this season have ended in goals. So that's a remarkable statistic and well overdue for him. I thought he was pretty poor tonight, and I've just spoken to him, and he thought he was pretty poor tonight as well. But a really good kind of moment to score that goal. It's been a while. I think it's been near on 13, 14, 15 games since he last scored for Norwich. So that's a big moment for him. And then obviously the game gets wrapped up. Jack Stacey's cross. Christian Fashnacht's in the area. It comes off Ryan Porteous and goes into the back of the net. And that takes Norwich up to 6th in the table. It means that they are in the top 6 for the first time since September for 24 hours at least. Obviously, Coventry are away at Plymouth tomorrow night, and Sunderland are away at Huddersfield. And then everything else. I mean, I think I'm stood here tonight, and my overwhelming feeling about everything that's happened is nuanced, to be fair. I think, first and foremost, I can't get past the fact it's really sad what's happened here tonight. Really, really sad. On both sides, because you've got, for me, a fan base that's split in two, and that has been largely because of comments that have been made and divisions that have been created and sowed. And you see it now when you go online, when you speak to supporters, when you go on message boards. There's a constant division around everyone, and it's been made very binary. It's kind of an either you're with us or you're against us. And I think we've seen that creep into the discourse around Norwich City now for certainly a few months, and it's grown. It hasn't gone away. And I think that's really sad, because this is a fantastic football club that, when it's been together, when it's been united, it's done some really special things throughout its history. It's achieved things that a football club of its size has absolutely no right to achieve. It's done things that a football club, that people can only dream of. I've had some of my best nights of my life. I've been standing in this stadium. I'm watching this club, actually, and never in my lifetime, I was trying to think on twofold, really. Have I seen what happened tonight happen? And never have I seen a fan base be as disunited as this. And actually, it's become somewhat of a civil war now. And I don't know, as I stand here today, how that ends and how it rectifies itself, because Norwich are 9 unbeaten at home. They're in the top 6. They've won here tonight. And yet this still feels like it's going to rumble on. And I'm not blaming supporters for that either, by the way. I don't want this to be misconstrued. So this is the second point, because I think largely where we have got to is, to an extent, the result of really poor PR, really poor communication, regressive tactics at points on the pitch, but also regressive tactics off it. And just, there's a lot of anger around this football club. This is not an angry football club, but at the moment it's angry. And you can sense it when you're inside Carrow Road. I've been sat in that press box all season. And, at points during games, to different volumes and scales and lengths, you've heard disquiet in this crowd. And you've heard, real disquiet. Not to the point of, why has he brought him off? Like tonight. And it's tough. And I think in that respect, it's hard not to look at what David Wagner said tonight and look at, obviously, the run that they've been on and say, yeah, it's kind of fair what he said. But by the same token, I think also supporters taking on supporters and telling supporters to stay at home is never a good way to fight your battles. I actually agree with everything he said up to that comment. And it's not even that necessarily I don't agree with that comment. I think it's the optics of it, because all this does for me, and that's to link back to the first point, is just create more division. At some point, someone, Ben Napper, someone is going to have to pick up the pieces of this, whatever it looks like, whether that's promotion via Wembley in the Premier League, whether that's not finishing in the playoffs, whether that's a failed playoff campaign. Someone's going to have to pick up whatever is left and push it together to try and create something that is sustainable and tangible again. Because, and I remember tweeting it last season, Norwich are broken. And they might not be on the pitch at the moment, but everything else around this, the relationship the fans have with the people that work for the football club, the relationship they have with the team, the relationship the other way as well, let's be honest. That all feels broken and fractured and angry on both sides. I don't know at what point someone tries to cool this down and calm it down. Norwich were 2-1 up when that reaction happened. And again, I want to reiterate, because I feel like it's going to get framed as the players were being booed. And David Wagner's tried to do that tonight. The players were not being booed. It was him and it was his substitutions. And this is where it becomes difficult for him. And this is, the point of what I was saying in autumn and during those really bad spells. You never really see a manager recover. And from his perspective, look, what more does he have to do? Norwich, as we said, are unbeaten at home since November. He's taken them to the top 6. I'm not sure what more he can do. I'm not sure what more he can do. And he still doesn't have the crowd. And, he said that he doesn't know if he's going to be able to turn any of them. How do you fix it? And we kind of saw it on Saturday to an extent. Again, you have one mislip. You have one moment that falls and you don't quite win a game. And we get back to this place of division and of, conflict, constant conflict. And it's tiring, and it's really difficult to know how to how to sum that up. And I know there'll be people watching who will blame us for that, and us, I mean, kind of local press and people who cover the football club. And I'm sure there'll be people at the club that blame us for that as well. And I'm not absolving anyone of any blame anywhere, but this is a divided football club right now, even after what should be a really good win that's moved them into the top six, as I said, that's pushed their unbeaten run at home incredibly further. And it's difficult to know how this gets repaired to a point where people are happy and content and enjoy coming to Carrow Road again, and that is, I think, problematic for everyone involved. And I think what tonight should do for everybody, supporters, players, officials at the club, everyone, is just give everyone maybe a time for reflection and to think about how this can get resolved and how this can be changed. Like Norwich are, by all accounts, planning to drop their season ticket renewal stuff probably in the morning, but maybe in a couple of days. There's going to be an increase. I feel incredibly sad where this football club is at the moment. And I know there's people who say that we're miserable or that we relish it, but I've supported this club all my life, and I feel sad that I have to stand here tonight in these verdicts that should be about football, speaking about whether almost diagnosing where this club is at the moment, and that's the problem that everyone I think has got, and that David Wagner has got as well. And I can completely understand why he feels he needs to come out and he needs to say what he said. He's had to absorb a lot and take a lot, and he's right. His team have been on an incredibly good run of late, and I think, to be fair, and we've seen it here in this place, Coventry, West Brom, we saw it at points tonight. When they're in that place, it's positive, it's happy, it's enjoyable to be here. But equally, you can't ignore, for me, and this is where I will stick up for the fans, what they've been served up. And it's not just under David Wagner. It's probably not even just under Dean Smith either, a little bit under Daniel Farker as well. The style of play, the entertainment, by and large here, maybe parking the last 3-4 weeks aside, has been dire. And so there is that pent up of frustration. They have been aimed at and taken fire at and blamed even at points by different people for results, and by the way, are still being blamed in some quarters. And this is what I mean about the whole crux of this. Someone at some point has to offer an olive branch, and I'm not sure how the supporters can do that. So it needs to come inside. And how do you do that? Do you completely reset? Do you try and speak in the terms that Ben Napper spoke about? And I think there's context as well. It was clearly a reaction based on what happened on Saturday, where substitutions, agree or disagree, negatively impacted the game. Tonight, I for a period in that game, the crowd affected the players negatively. But again, I'm not blaming the crowd at that, because it was a reaction at the decision making at David Wagner. And so I don't have answers for you really tonight. I can't say definitively what I really think and feel, because I think it's easy to say the fans were wrong. It's easy to say David Wagner was wrong. And I think it's easy to, again, take a side, create division, create more conflict. And then we come back on Saturday, Norwich might win again. And next time, don't we end up here again? So it's horrible. It's a really horrible situation. Even when Norwich are winning games at the moment, there's not a joy behind it. And that is exhausting. And I'm quite sure how to end. And like you said, it does end. However it ends, someone's picked the pieces up and just got to try and sew it back together again, try and create something. So, yeah, look, I wish I could stand here tonight and speak about football and speak about what was a fantastic win in the circumstances. And, a game that was quite entertaining and bizarre and was exhausting. But tonight it's about more football. So, yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. If you made it to this far, I hope that wasn't an incoherent ramble. I've been thinking for the last hour about what I can say, what I want to say. I don't know if I've done that. Yeah, even though Norwich have won, I'm going home tonight feeling incredibly sad about the state of everything, and I'm sure a lot of fans are as well. Thanks very much for watching. See you soon.